from Brown and Nick. If you could create a starting five with only the benches from teams that are below 500, name the players and the record. So to clarify, here is the pool of players. I'm essentially selecting from a pool of, because the NBA right now, there are, as I am recording this, which is 12:30 on Friday afternoon, there are not as many under 500 teams in the league as you'd think. So in the East, we have Atlanta, Toronto, Chicago, Washington, Orlando, Detroit, and Charlotte. So 7 teams in the East. And in the West, 6 teams: Warriors, Wolves, Lakers, Thunder, Spurs, and Rockets. Here's what I did. If a player has come off the bench for a majority of the games for the team, I considered that player. There are, like, if you go to the NBA stats page, they actually let you sort it by like bench players, and there will be some lofty names that appear on there, but you'll see in like games, it'll be like 2 games or 3 games or 5 games. Like those, I didn't consider guys like that. Like I'm pretty sure, for instance, like Gary Trent Jr. has come off the bench a handful of times for the Raptors. Like he's a starter for them, and he started the majority of their games, so I didn't consider him. So with that as the pool, again, a pool of like, what's 7 times 13? So about 100 players. Here's what I came up with. I think the most obvious name on the board is Onyeka Okongwu, who is the backup center currently for the, what's the Hawks record right now? The under 500 barely. Now, again, this could not exactly last because the Hawks are 14-15 and they play the Hornets tonight, so they could get back to 500. But I'm staying within the rules of the exercise right now. They are under 500. I think Okongwu is the best backup big man. He might be the best backup big man in the NBA, and he happens to play for a team that's under 500. Not a floor spacer, so he's not going to diversify your offense in that way, but he's really good. Second, I think this is, I'll go in order of like how easy it was. Once I saw that Alex Caruso had come off the bench for 16 out of Chicago's 26 games, thought that was pretty easy. If you're looking at plus minus, total plus minus for the season, not like plus minus per game, total plus minus. Caruso's plus minus off the bench in 16 games is second best in the league. He is in, again, 16 games off the bench. The Bulls are plus 64 in those minutes. And that is for a team that is currently 5 games under 500. The only guy who has a better plus minus who has come off the bench is Jordan McLaughlin. McLaughlin? I don't know how to pronounce his name. That's my bad. But I just think Caruso's a better player. So Caruso's the second choice for that one. Next up, I don't watch this team as much as I'd like because I think they're an interesting team and they got some interesting stuff going on. But I like this player. I've always liked this player. Anytime the Knicks have played this team, this player has always stood out to me in very good ways, and that's Kenrich Williams on the Thunder, who I guess it looks like the Thunder aren't going to trade. Like there were teams that are interested, have been teams that have been interested in him. Nice, fair contract, really cheap contract. He's just a guy that's like, seems like he's a perfect role player in the NBA today. So Okongwu, Caruso, Kenrich Williams don't have a whole lot of offensive creation so far. Next guy, I should surprise no one who's been listening to me for a while, the one and only Alec Burks. Alec Burks is coming off the bench for the not very good Detroit Pistons. They are 8-22. We know what Alec Burks can do. I think Alec Burks is a wonderful addition to any team. I think Alec Burks could probably start and play 25 minutes for a handful of teams that are going to wind up in the playoffs, as long as he's in his proper role. And his proper role is not point guard, which leads me to, but he could give you a little creation. So there's that. And in case, spoiler alert, this team is going to try to win games with defense. So here's where I'm getting my creation. And this is where it's tough for me. I have 2 contenders for the point guard spot. Cole Anthony, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Russell Westbrook. Now, again, as anyone who's listened to me for a while knows, I'm not a big Russ fan. He is, I've called him my least favorite player in the NBA. I just don't like. I mean, he takes a handful of shots every game that are just deplorable shots. I think his decision making can be very poor sometimes, even outside of the shooting. But the question here is, does Russ still have it in him for just the rest of this year to, if you surround him with 4 defense first role players, all of whom besides Okongwu can shoot the 3, can that still, like, how close can he get to the version of the Thunder that won? I think they won like 46 games or whatever it was, in which he was an MVP. Obviously, he's not an MVP level player anymore. He doesn't, his skills have diminished, but can he approximate some version of that team with these guys? Cole Anthony is like, again, he's a shot creator. I think he's probably the best bench shot creator on an under 500 team in the league. Unless I'm forgetting anyone. His efficiency numbers are actually decent this year. Still not great, but decent. If I was building this team for the long term, I'd take Cole Anthony, but I'm building it for this year only, so I'm going to take Russ. What would the record of this team be? I don't know. Would they win 30 games? I think I could see them winning. But is that too high? 25 games? Like, I've been watching some of the tankers. I've been watching a lot of the Rockets recently. I've been watching a lot of the Magic recently. They'll come up in a later question, but like maybe 25 is about right, more than 30. So something in that range, 25 to 30. Okay.